Well, to discuss the issues around the Stilfontein mine crisis further, I'm joined in studio by Mametlwe Sebei. He's the president of the General Industries Workers Union of South Africa. Thank you so much for joining us, Mametlwe.
Pleased to be here.
So let's start with what my colleague was telling us, that Gwede Mantashe says he would not go to Stilfontein because he considers it to be a crime scene. Is that what you would expect from a South African Minister of Mineral Resources at a time like this?
Well, it is a crime that they have manufactured. Let's understand what that means. There's about 6,100 abandoned, derelict and ownerless mines in this country. They've been abandoned by the big corporations, mainly foreign-owned multinational corporations that have monopolized the ownership of the mining industry in this country, engaged in a very ruthless colonial extractivism where they take the minerals raw as they are, ship them off, the shores of this country, ruthlessly exploiting communities that they are always ready to abandon at the first go. And that's the issue that we are dealing with there, insofar as Stilfontein is concerned. And what you are seeing with illegal mining is the consequences of the illegality of these big mining corporations, not only in terms of abandonment of the mining, which, by the way, is a crime in progress, because they say that it is because of, these are mines that were closed before 2002 when they passed, MPRDA. But it's almost as if there was no regulations for a proper rehabilitation of mining before that act.
But we know that
is not true.
Yeah, but we know that there are regulations and there are laws. What is supposed to happen when a mining company decides to let go of a mine? What are they supposed to do to close it up?
Yes, but let's also say it. Those laws actually goes over 100 years ago. What people do not appreciate is that even what we call the Boer republics, these were farmer states, farmers' organization, which at the onset of mining, they had to pass laws to protect their primary constituency, which are farmers, against the environmental damages that comes with mining and so on. What is it that miners to do? There are primary instruments for complying with problems that we are dealing with here. Is environmental management plans. Right? That requires that there must be adequate rehabilitation of the environment so that this environment can actually be used for alternative productive purposes at closure. Right? But also there should be closure plans that will ensure that alongside adequate rehabilitation that will allow a productive use of the land beyond mining, those holes are properly sealed. But there is another mechanism to ensure the rehabilitation of communities themselves. What is that? Is social and labor plans. But many of these mines also, which are licensed on the basis that they're not going to create jobs in terms of the actual mining itself, but they will be beneficiating minerals in these communities to create other industries and millions of jobs that will build resilient economies that can be able to transition to post-mining. So that is a problem. And I think that's a problem that is not being addressed.
Yeah. Let's come to this. We're in a reality where some mines or miners have not been responsible and properly closed up. And we have a situation where we have a lot of mine areas that are susceptible to illegal mining. That's the reality. That's what we're faced with right now. The gentleman who was speaking to my colleague Itumeleng was saying that rather than criminalizing those miners, rather make it legal. But then we're faced with the problem that some of those mines are extremely dangerous and the infrastructure is not necessarily there to do mining as safely as possible. So as a way to try and, remediate this problem, how do you think we should proceed, given the situation, not the ideal situation, but what we have now going forward?
And as I said, this is a crime in progress by the mining companies. Just because I think I'm building on that earlier point that you were raising. Is it between 2011 and 2016, there was 803 closure certificates that were applied in this country. Of that, only 27 were actually for the mining rights. The rest were permits and so on and so on. Of those 27, 20 of them were in Western Cape. We know there's no mining of your big of your main minerals, gold, diamond, platinum, and so on, in Western Cape is merely a cent in the sea that is being mined there and so on. Reality is that big mining operations, even post the MPRDA that Minister is speaking about, continues. But even more worse than that is the fact that these serial offenders that are corporations that continue to monopolize the ownership of the industry are issued new licenses every single day in this country, taking the land that belongs to communities where people are living alternative lives, drawing them into a mining economies that they are willing to abandon at the go. What should we do? One is that we've got to regularize it, right? This is a reality. 6,100 mines that are abandoned, right? Part of regularizing of that is to ensure that we create a framework where these people can be able to mine legally. Because people need to understand what are we talking about here. It's just people who are left without jobs, disparate because of hunger and starvation, and they're just picking gold nobody wants, nobody is laying ownership to at the present moment. So regularizing framework is that how then do we help these former mine workers, their families, their communities, and those disparate to join them to make a legal living in this situation.
Yeah. Mametlwe, you are with us for a while, and we're going to pause our conversation, and perhaps we'll come back and discuss further. But we'll leave it there for now. Thank you so much, Mametlwe, for joining us. Mr. Sebei, he's the president of the General Industries Workers Union of South Africa.